Has been playing in the last couple of Premier League matches for Villa, but today Dean Saunders will be up front with Davian Atkinson, and Whittingham is on the substitutes bench. Houghton brought in to strengthen the midfield. Only Manchester United have beaten Villa so far in 7 games this season. Villa with 3 wins and 3 draws, though they've only scored 9 goals in their 7 games. Slovan Bratislava have a pretty flexible formation, basically 4-4-2, but Tehelne is sweeper, Zaman, and when needed, Tomaszek, the covering midfield player who will drop back into defence. That's the coach, Dusan Gallis, a former international who scored a goal, in fact, here against England in the 1970s in a European Championship qualifier. You may remember that in 1976, Czechoslovakia won the European Championship. So the country and the club with a fine pedigree in European football, and Ian St John, they're certain to provide a real test here for Aston Villa today.
Well, it will be, Alan, but the good thing about this stadium is a lovely pitch, beautiful big pitch. Ron Atkinson was saying that he's delighted with that, and I think it gives the Villa lads a bit of space to play their football.
Aston Villa in their usual claret and blue, the new look claret and blue this season. Slovan Bratislava in what looks like Manchester United's old away kit, the blue and white shirts and blue shorts. About 70 degrees here today, no wind at all, and as Ian was saying, a perfect playing surface. I rather wish our commentary position was just as perfect. We're literally down on the touchline here. The ball played in field to Tehelne, the sweeper, but that's overhit, and a first touch for Nigel Spink. Steve Staunton. Davian Atkinson, whose pace is bound to bother Slovan. They've, naturally enough, had Aston Villa watched, and he was one of the players they picked out as a possible danger to them. This is Tomaszek, the tall, blonde midfield player, almost ran into trouble then with Townsend. Now the captain, Stupala, headed away by Tehelne. Staunton keeps it in play, and turned back by Cowans and then McGrath. The name of the game, always in European, I think, is taking the fire out of the home side and the home fans early on by keeping possession.
Oh, yeah, take the pace out of the game, Alan, of course, and there's so much experience in the Villa ranks, I don't think they'll see that as a problem.
Tomaszek getting up for the header clear. Number 8 is Lance, and he's run into trouble there with Atkinson. Krzysztofic keeping possession, though, for Slovan. Negro, the little Argentine player, is a great favourite here. But Villa looking strong in midfield here. And once again, Cowans with the sensible ball. Nothing risky, no dramatics, no heroics. Free kick there to Aston Villa for dangerous kicking, indirect. Staunton getting forward on this near side. Down the line for Dean Saunders. Looking for Richardson in the box, headed clear by Zaman, the tall central defender. And it's the crowd's favourite, Negro again. Good ball forward to Krzysztofic. Barrett slightly out of position, but McGrath, the covering defender here. And a firm header clear by Sean Tehelne. Only as far, though, as Tomaszek. This is Lance. And Negro turning a dangerous ball into the penalty area. And the first chance goes Slovan Bratislava's way, with Krzysztofic getting in on the far post from that beautiful through ball. A real chance there for the Czechs.
Well, Negro, the number 10, has got away a couple of times in these early minutes, Alan. And really, the Villa can't allow him space. He's probably their best player, as you said. He's a crafty little Argentine, and they mustn't give him space, because if they do, he will start running the game. Somebody's got to get on him and stay with him.
I gather there's a few English clubs interested in signing Negro, who's only been here a short time, came from the River Plate club in Argentina. And we've already seen he could be a real threat. He gets forward again on the Villa right flank. Barrett strong in possession. And the whistle's gone, in fact, a little bit too strong then. Negro in his challenge. Aston Villa have the free kick. Jim Barron, Ron Atkinson's assistant. who came out to watch Slovan play in one of their league fixtures. So too did Dave Sexton, who helps out on the coaching side at Villa Park. And their impression is of a good, neat footballing side who, if you allow them to dictate, certainly could give Villa some problems here today. McGrath's interception. Tomaszek turns it back into the Villa half dangerously. Meixner. Little nudge then from Staunton, but not spotted by the linesman, who has given the throw in to Villa. Staunton again, but he was a bit tight there to try and force that down the line. Lance has dispossessed him, and plenty of players in the middle here. Negro was one of them on the far post. It was Barrett who did well for Aston Villa to get it clear. Zaman's header is misdirected, though. Saunders looked to be foul then, but the referee has said play on, with Houghton in possession for Villa. Davian Atkinson making a fine run in the middle. He's hit it long towards Townsend, and the goalkeeper didn't look too safe then. A fairly routine catch that should have been, but Wenzel in fact dropped the ball, and now he's thrown out of play because Slovan have a man down injured.
I think it's Meixner, the number 9, who got knocked here with Saunders in the centre circle. One thing about this game, Alan, that's different from back home as far as Villa is concerned, is the game is very stretched out. They're playing as usual with the sweeper, the Slovan team, and there's a lot of depth about the game. Back home, you know, the teams push up, everybody's on the halfway line, and there's very little space in midfield. In this particular game this afternoon, we're going to see an awful lot of room. This is the clash, I think, on the halfway line coming up, is it? We'll see Saunders going for the ball here now. Saunders was always going to win it, and it was just a case there of a little bump.
But he's back on his feet, and the game underway again. Zaman in possession. Stupala, the captain, gives it back to the tall sweeper Tehelne, and they took a bit of a risk then. They're certainly a side who like to play it out from the back, and that can cause problems. Bit of indecision there in the Villa ranks, though. And finally, Sean Teal almost lands the ball on our heads here. Saying, I think you can take a few throw-ins today. We're that close to the coach here on the touchline.
Yeah, it's a very awkward spot, Alan. We don't really get a good perspective of the game either, because we're getting a worm's eye view of it.
If you hear a sudden thud, you know that the ball has hit us. Some of you may decide that silence is a better option. Teal under pressure near his own corner flag. Staunton's clearance. Zaman higher than Atkinson. Now Staunton again.
See how deep their sweeper plays. I mean, there's so much space there, isn't there?
Tehelne with the long ball forward, not a very accurate one, but Timko racing across to try and make it a better ball. Fine interception by McGrath. Now Houghton on Villa's right. Barrett knocks it long. And plenty of room for the sweeper, and Wenzel almost hesitated fatally then in scooping it off his teammate's toes. This is Stupala. It's a decent ball. McGrath got it clear, only as far as Meixner, and McGrath again at the heart of the Villa defence with an important interception. Then a good header clear by Cowans. Title. Tomaszek. Well, Villa will know they'll have to hustle and bustle these midfield players, who are all apparently very comfortable on the ball. Good in possession, good technique. And looking quite sound at the back at the moment. Title. Good clearing header there by Teal, and it comes all the way back to Spink. Stupala with an easy clearance finds Tomaszek. On to Meixner. An up and under clearance from McGrath. Tomaszek again, lofted high, and it was an awkward one for McGrath, but he and Teal cope with it well. This is Staunton for Villa. Looking for Saunders on the far post. It's a glorious ball, beautifully brought down by Dean Saunders, but Teifel did the sweeper's role perfectly then. The last defender, and very calm under pressure. Cowans. Atkinson almost got away from Stupala. But neat play by Slovan. And a good-looking ball for Meixner. A chance here. For the second time, Coach Gallis is furious with his team's finishing. And Aston Villa have been let off the hook twice here in the opening 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, that's certainly the chance of the match so far. It's clean through. Only the goalkeeper to beat and knocked out by the post, thankfully, for Aston Villa. But the Villa caught all over the place here. Alan, really and truly, I wouldn't expect that to happen. Stevie Staunton, the chasing defender there.
Well, that really was a clear-cut chance there for Meixner, who was only brought into the side at the last minute today. Didn't play in the league game at the weekend. And he's preferred to the more regular striker alongside Timko. As you heard before the match, Peter Dubowski, their leading scorer, in fact the leading scorer in the league in the last 2 seasons, was their main goal scorer. He's been sold to Real Madrid. And they certainly missed him in that instant. And Aston Villa have had the red warning light now on 2 occasions. That's got the crowd going and the coach. Good play there by McGrath, because he was being nudged away by Timko, and the referee from Italy, Marcello Nicchi, did well to see it. Free kick to Aston Villa, who certainly will be concerned at the way the long ball over the top of their back four split them twice. Staunton turning it back in towards Dean Saunders, who's offside, in fact. And has gone down, apparently injured.
I think it's important at this particular stage now, Alan, that the Villa get a hold of the ball and try and keep it, try to get some passing sequences going, because it would appear that all they're doing is trying to get it and knock it long for Saunders and Atkinson up front.
Here is Saunders, Townsend. It's a sloppy ball by the Republic of Ireland international. And Houghton is bypassed rather too easily for Villa's liking in midfield. And then the stern challenge coming in from Richardson, which the referee didn't like at all. It was a fine run, that, though, Ian.
It was a fine run, and it was a good tackle, I thought.
Kinder, the injured player, but back on his feet, having won his side the free kick. And I don't think Dusan Gallis will be too pleased with the way his side wasted that dangerous moment. Nigel Spink, of course, always remembered for his dramatic debut in Aston Villa's European Cup win 11 years ago now, and he came on as a substitute early in the game there and was one of the heroes of that night. The other hero, the goal scorer Peter With, is here incidentally doing radio commentary today. Cowans beaten in midfield. Good strong run by Kristofik. Has Meixner just ahead of him. And a good 1-2 between Meixner and Timko. And a dangerous cross coming in. And it was as well then for Villa that Earl Barrett was in a good position on the far post. And Villa under a little bit of pressure here in the opening quarter of an hour. Still 0-0. But we've certainly seen enough, Ian, to confirm the suspicion that this is a very useful side.
Well, they're a useful side, Alan, but I'm a little bit bemused at Villa. I think they've been very, very slack in the opening stages of this game.
Well, let's see how Townsend can get them moving forward here. He finds Barrett on the right. Houghton. Long for Saunders. There's a man right behind him, and Saunders will need to hold it up a little bit better than that. Title. Good header away by Staunton, but it bounces unfortunately for Villa. Tomaszek. Stupala, the captain. And that's a Villa throw. Clumsy ball there has given Slovan possession again. And clear foul there on Negro. Kristofic moving forward. Negro in support. And that's a useful effort, but Spink saved exceptionally well, because it was where goalkeepers hate it, really, right down on the ground in front of him, and bounced and reared up, and he did really well there, Spink.
That was a great save, Alan. It was a great shot. Zeman, I think, who had the shot there, bounced in front of him, very awkward, and he managed to get it away. Here we can see it from the camera behind the goal. It really was an awkward one. Bit of a dip in the ball there. The keeper did well.
First corner of the game then, and Tomaszek getting in on the far post, headed clear by Staunton.
You get the feeling, you know, that the Villa could lose a goal at any minute, because they've been so lackadaisical in their approach to this game. I'm very surprised. It's not the performance I thought we were going to see from Villa, especially early in the game. I thought they'd been really into everything and marking people tight, but they're not. It's very casual.
Yes, I'm sure Ron Atkinson will be furious at the moment on the touchline, as Negro twists and turns again and links well with Lance. Timko on the far side, keeping Slovan moving forward, but not now. And Villa can't get hold of it in the midfield at the moment. Teal's clearance, Townsend gets it away, but every time they do clear the ball, it's one back, because they're under so much pressure. They've got virtually 10 players in their own half at the moment, Aston Villa. And that'll be a relief to them getting a free kick. Negro injured. And that's how it happened, as he went up for that challenge with Daly and Atkinson. They were in the European Champions Cup last season, Slovan Bratislava, and they had the distinct misfortune to draw AC Milan of all teams in the second round. They lost 1-0 here and 4-0 in Milan. And this is their fourth time in the UEFA Cup. They've had 6 appearances in the Cup Winners' Cup and 5 in the Champions Cup. So although there are a few new players, of course, this is a club with lots of European experience, more so than Villa. McGrath with a long one, looking for Saunders, headed away by Tetel. Now Townsend. Cowans. Saunders. Houghton. And another layoff to Staunton. Looking for Atkinson on the far post, but the big defender got up a lot higher than the Villa man, and has headed behind for Aston Villa's first corner of the game. 18 minutes gone.
Well, that was a bit better from Villa there. Steve Staunton getting wide down this left-hand side. Here he comes again.
Corner in short to Staunton. And that's a dangerous ball across the box, which Townsend met full length. Yet to score since he joined Aston Villa for a couple of £1 million from Chelsea in the summer, Andy Townsend. And still suffering a little bit from a hamstring injury, which has caused him to miss 3 of Villa's league games so far. Good strong run from midfield again, but Villa's defence looking sounder this time. Houghton in possession. Now Staunton. Gets it back from Townsend. This looks more promising from Aston Villa. Cowans. That's a lovely ball into Townsend. And Townsend's got round the defender. And a good cross to Saunders. Well, it was an opening, really, and certainly the first of the game that Aston Villa have created. Dean Saunders having no luck in front of goal at the moment. This is Tomaszek for Slovan. Kinder on the left. Well, that was got to a chance, yeah.
Of course, because the Villa started to pass the ball around. They knocked it about 5 or 6 passes together, created a chance, Alan, and you know, Saunders a bit unfortunate, really. It was a bit of a packed box there. But much better, and this is what Villa have got to do. Let's get the ball down and roll it around and keep it off the Slovaks.
20 minutes gone then, still 0-0. Both teams have had chances, though. And Villa have a free kick. Taken by Richardson. Teal has come up from the back and wins the header. And in fact, the referee's given a foul against him for pushing. Alexander Wenzel in the Slovan goal, the son of a famous former international. In fact, his father was one of the goalkeepers in the Czech squad that won the European Championship in the mid-70s. Teal takes the kick. Teal beaten to it. Timko forward. And a good layoff, finds Meixner. Kinder. Cool play by Tomaszek. This is the man, and he almost got himself into trouble. In fact, he has, but he was fouled, according to the referee.
The Villa backroom boys who were over here spying on this team said that there was a few divers in the team, and I think we've seen already a couple of them have gone down, had the trainers on, and really it's been trivial. That's just trivial, that. But I mean, you've got to expect that. That's what they're going to do, try to kid the referee on. The problem is it's okay in the middle of the field there, but what happens when it's around the edge of the box or in the box?
Yes, and I gathered from Dave Sexton they looked very dangerous with their set pieces when he saw them in their latest league win at the weekend. So it's something Villa will be aware of. Staunton. Townsend. Has a good challenge on Stevie Staunton, and in fact, Slovan get the throw in. Staunton's there again, infield to Atkinson. We haven't seen too much of Dalian Atkinson yet. Here's Meixner. Good challenge from Cowans, and he and Staunton combining well to win possession back for Villa. Tomaszek's header. Now Townsend. Richardson beaten to it, though. Stupala. Clumsy ball straight to Staunton. That's what Villa need to get possession back and keep it. Teal. Richardson. Trying to use the pace of Barrett. Houghton's in support. Now Richardson. Knocked in long for Houghton. That's a good header across the goal, but no one really anticipated it. Kinder. Negro. That's good defending by Barrett, who I thought might have been fouled there, but the referee says play on. And it's a good-looking cross. Tinko lays it off. And the shot in the end did cause a problem to Spink by the number 4, Kristofic. And Slovan have a corner out of it.
Looking dangerous, Alan, aren't they, when they get the ball in the Aston Villa box?
Yes, that little deflection there off Paul McGrath, earning the corner. It's a little too deep, but they've kept possession with Lantz. An easy one for Barrett to clear. Now Tomaszek. Neat play there with Zaman, and the centre-half keeps going forward. But now he's left the hole behind. If Villa can break quickly into it with Tehelne Atkinson, and he's away here, and he's got the pace to keep going. And he's got Saunders in support. Well, they really ought to have made better of that, I think, Villa.
Well, Ron Atkinson must be going mad at that, because, I mean, he's clean through. He's either got to decide, well, I'm taking it on myself and I'm going to have a pop at goal here. And I think he's in two minds. He's got Saunders on his right, and he's looking at him thinking, should I play it, should I play it? And then when he finally does, he gives him a bad ball.
Well, it's certainly an open game. It's not one of those tight European ties where both teams are playing cagily, because, in all honesty, Slovan have had 2, arguably 3 good chances to score, and Villa have had 2 decent opportunities as well. 25 minutes gone, it's still goalless. McGrath's clearance, Houghton. Good header clear by Zaman. They're not going to get much over his head. Must be about 6'2", the central defender. Here's Richardson. This is better football from Villa. Cowans drills it beautifully out to Staunton. And on it goes to Townsend, making a fine run here. Saunders coming to meet him. But the final ball, not really good enough.
Well, I was looking for Atkinson there to come in behind Saunders. Saunders had made a nice little run near post. You're looking for the second man to come in at the back. And Atkinson at the moment doesn't seem to be on the same wavelength as Dean Saunders. Or any of the rest of the players, for that matter.
Scoring goals has been Villa's problem this season. As I mentioned earlier, they've only got those 9 in their 7 league games, and 4 of those, in fact, came in one match against Queen's Park Rangers. So neither of the recognised strikers have been weighing in with too many goals. Tehelne Atkinson 3, Dean Saunders just 1. Here's Negro for Slovan, leaving it to Tomaszek. Lantz. Number 4 here, Kristofic, gets into some good positions. And Galis, the Slovan coach, might well be cursing the earlier missed opportunities by his side. Enjoying a lot of possession here, but not really getting anywhere with it. Tehelne, that's a good ball forward. It's opened up a little bit of room here. And once again, it's the number 4, Kristofic, but he held on a little too long, and Villa break dangerously again. Dean Saunders, Richardson coming forward in support. And Saunders has done well here. Now Cowans. Staunton, that's good play by Steve Staunton. 3 on the far post for the cross, and the cross wasn't early or accurate enough.
So annoying, isn't it, when the wide player gets into that position and then hits the defender, when they're all begging for a good ball into the box.
It's about 300 Aston Villa fans have made the trip over to Slovakia for this game. And they're getting behind their side now in this little spell of Villa possession with Cowans. Staunton. It didn't go out of play according to the linesman. Staunton thought it had. He was expecting a throw-in. Kristofic forward to Tinko. Villa have it back though. Houghton, and now Barrett. Well, that was good determined play by the Slovakian side. Not a good ball at the end of it. Staunton. Kevin Richardson, European experience in his days with Arsenal and Everton. Most of these Villa players have played in Europe in one form or another, either as an international or with other club sides. Cowans varies it with a glorious long ball to Townsend. And that'll be a corner. A challenge by Ludovic Lantz. Bit too deep, is it? Although Wenzel didn't look too happy with it. Turn back in again. And reaches Staunton at the end. Houghton. Cowans, that's a good ball. Staunton. Driven along the ground when I think Villa were hoping for a high cross then, because they had McGrath and Dalian Atkinson on the far post.
But again, there was no movement, Alan. I think that was not a bad ball. You know that Stevie Staunton bangs him in low like that. He did it before when he cracked one right across the face of the box. So you're expecting that, and somebody's got to make a run at it.
We're into the last quarter of an hour of the first half here in Bratislava. Slovan Bratislava 0, Aston Villa 0 in this opening tie in the UEFA Cup. Richardson winning possession back for Villa, and he was fouled.
Little Cowans is coming more and more into the game, hasn't he? He's beginning to dictate things.
Ian Townsend linking well there in midfield, and Villa have another free kick. Foul by Lantz. And Villa will be anxious now to get through the final phase of this first half without conceding a goal. It'll mean a lot to them. Second leg to come, remember, in a fortnight's time at Villa Park. And the away legs in Europe, quite often a damage limitation exercise. Negro in possession. Oh, and McGrath missed that one completely. It was as well for him that Teal was right in behind him. Saunders, dispossessed by Tomaszek. Krzysztofic again, seeing a lot of him, and now Tomaszek. And it goes straight back to Tomaszek.
That was a nice little layup by Townsend there, wasn't it? Set Tomaszek up. A lot of casual stuff by Aston Villa. You're right enough. If they get out of this at half-time at 0-0, I think Ron will shake him up a bit in the dressing room.
Richardson. And that's Slovan's throw. Krzysztofic. And they'll never beat El Barrett with a ball like that. It's one of the quickest defenders around. McGrath. And this is sensible play from Villa, just making sure they keep possession. Frustrate the opposition. Teal. Saunders. And Teal gives it away there when he really had a lot of time on the ball. Kinder. McGrath's clearance. Teal. Tomaszek. Zeman. Well, Villa will be happy to see Slovan stroking it around like this in their own half of the field. And that was a bit of a rash challenge, which has earned a free kick. I think he was trying to play the ball, in fairness, but just caught Tomaszek above the ankle. I think he was trying to play the ball, Ian.
Well, he was, but I mean, I don't know how Tomaszek can have the outside of his left ankle injured when the tackle was coming in from his right side. There's nothing wrong with him. I mean, they do this all the time, and it's one of the frustrating things about playing football in the European competitions, that you come up against this. It's something you don't get back home. Basically, our players are very honest. They, you know, if they get a knock, okay, they go down, but they don't go down and try to kid people. But when you come over and play in Europe, it happens all the time, and it's very irritating. More so, of course, when you're behind. If you get a goal or two down and they do this and it just eats up the clock, that's when it really gets to you.
Tomaszek still limping as play has continued. Cowan's interception. Now Daly and Atkinson, and Tomaszek is still in a bit of trouble there as he tried to win it back, but play continues. Negro in possession. He's overhit that one, surely. And in fact, it had already gone behind before Staunton headed it away, so that's a goal kick to Aston Villa. Well, despite the fact that he might well have been beaten twice in the opening 15 minutes, Nigel Spink, curiously enough, hasn't had much to do yet.
That's a fact, Alan. He hasn't much direct stuff, has he? The one save he had to make was from a very awkward ball, and of course the Meixner miss when really, you know, he was let off the hook.
I mentioned Villa's poor scoring record this season. It's only fair to mention their good defensive record. Spink, who's played in all the games, keeping out the Australian Mark Bosnich, has kept 4 clean sheets in his 7 games prior to today. Foul throw there by Steve Staunton. I literally had a bird's eye view of that, or more like a worm's eye view, actually. It's not long for Meixner. Staunton under pressure here. And Slovan get the throw in. Negro gives it back to Lance. And space here for Zaman. And back it goes to the central defender. And Villa just about had enough bodies in the way then as Lance plays it in again. But no problem this time for Villa. Houghton hitting a lovely long ball there for Dean Saunders, but he couldn't quite keep it in play. Lance. Tehelne. And Richardson trying to hustle these defenders out of their comfortable little triangle. Stupala. This is Timko. Lance. Well, the linesman's given a free kick there, or at least signalled that, and the referee supported him. And that seemed a harsh decision.
That was a harsh decision. It was a very good tackle.
This could be a problem for Villa as well, because Tomaszek and Zaman and Tehelne are all big lads, over 6 foot. And this is a good position to curl one in towards them. And in it goes, in fact. And it was a missed opportunity, that one, by one of the big lads from the centre of the defence. And Spink was very grateful that the header dropped rather harmlessly towards him from Zaman. Could have done better there, Ian.
Well, I think so.
Ron Atkinson standing in the sunshine over there. He does like a bit of sunshine, Ron. Lance. Stupala. Staunton's clearance. And as we move towards the final 5 minutes of the half, this is a worrying little period here for Villa. And the shot by Lance on the second bounce, held by Spink.
Here's a shot coming in there, straight at the goalkeeper. But I thought they had a let off before, you know, with that header. But here again, the shot by the little number 8. Again, direction right to the keeper.
Richardson for Villa. Over Atkinson's head, but Townsend keeps possession now. Gordon Cowans. Staunton. It's a good ball from Cowans to Staunton. And Staunton feels he was brought down there by Lance as he went for the return ball, but the referee doesn't agree. Had plenty of European experience in his Liverpool days, of course, Stevie Staunton, and capped over 40 times by the Republic of Ireland. He's still only 24. He seems to have been around for a long, long time. Crowd trying to whip up a little more effort from the home side here. Been quite quiet, really, this crowd today. Not one of the more volatile spectators that you'll find in European football. Foul there by McGrath, but the referee says play on. Cowans. Bailey and Atkinson, and slid away by Tomaszek, who's obviously recovered from his injury. Cowans. Houghton's run was well covered there by Zaman. Now McGrath. Forward to Barrett. And he's got round Kinder. That's good play by Earl Barrett. And a decent looking cross as well. And Townsend made it difficult for the goalkeeper. But Wenzel, who is apparently not at his best on crosses, was on that occasion. Here's Stupala. Cleared by Teal. And then Staunton. Tomaszek looks a neat player, the tall midfielder. In fact, neat just about sums up this side, because they're all very comfortable at stroking it around. They're failing, apparently, from what we've seen so far, is in front of goal. Will they get it back? Well, not for long. Townsend giving it away. 3 minutes to go now to half-time. And Stupala finding Tomaszek. And Villa back behind the ball in numbers. All 11 players, in fact, inside their own half at the moment. Timko. Negro. It was a good challenge, or at least I thought it was, but the referee obviously doesn't like sliding tackles, because he's given an indirect free kick against Cowans there. Strange one.
Yes. Let's have a look at it in the replay. He slid in there. He actually went over the top of the ball. He missed the ball and went over the top of it, and probably that was why.
Yeah, I think the referee deciding that he unfairly kept possession with both his feet on the ball. Now, Titel, the sweeper, apparently packs a real punch in these free kick situations. Negro, the Argentine player, over the ball as well. And it's set up for Titel, who hits it straight at the wall. It hit Barrett, and Staunton makes sure that he didn't go for a corner. Important couple of minutes this for Villa to hold on here now and go in at half-time at 0-0. Lance in possession for Slovan. It's a good run this, but a poor shot at the end of it.
Well, you never know where it was going, but it got a deflection of the defender.
Yeah, corner. Tehelne and Atkinson back defending. And once again, Zeman and Tehelne, the two biggest players in the penalty box on the far post. Tomaszek is there as well. It goes in towards Zeman. Oh, that was a horrible moment for Villa.
Sean Teal claiming he was pushed there as he went for that one.
The referee not impressed. Another corner. Well, we are literally now moving to within seconds of the half-time whistle. It would be a terrible moment for Villa to concede now. As it goes in towards Zeman on the near post, cleared by Richardson, driven back in again by Kristofik. Now Townsend. Well, not the prettiest of clearances, but it'll do for the moment. Just giving them time to suck in the breath again as we move into stoppage time. There's a sloppy throw-in. And the whistle's gone. I thought for a moment that was half-time, so did the players, but in fact it's a free kick to Villa for the foul on Cowans. Staunton hits it quickly, early, intended to find Saunders, but never did so.
They've tried to use that ball 2 or 3 times in the game, the Villa, knocking the long ball over the top there for the strikers, but I think once it's been successful.
Well, that now is the half-time whistle, and despite a couple of early scares, Aston Villa have reached the midway point of the game with a clean sheet. Slovan Bratislava 0, Aston Villa 0. We'll have more right after this break. Welcome back as Aston Villa prepare to get the second half underway here. Slovan have made a substitution during the half-time interval. They've brought on their striker, Pavel Gostić, who has been playing quite a lot recently and lost his place today to Meixner. I'll just tell you in a moment whose place he's taken. I think it could be Meixner himself, as Earl Barrett takes this throw-in for Aston Villa right in front of us. We could literally reach out and nudge the ball out of his hand here. Perhaps we should have done, because he took so long to take it. The referee's given the throw-in the other way. Stole a bit of room, and the referee didn't like it. Looks like Timko, the other striker, is the man that's been replaced by Gostić. And that's no surprise. He didn't really figure too much in the first half, when Slovan certainly had the better of the goal-scoring opportunities. Still 0-0, and they have a free kick. Meixner knocks it forward to Gostić, who's tackled by McGrath, and that's a corner. No, it's not. It's gone out for a throw-in from where we are. It looked as though it had crossed the line for the corners. Miles away, in fact. Flicked on dangerously by Tomaszek, and that's a great effort. Well saved by Spink. The looping header threatened to drop underneath the crossbar, and Spink dealt with it beautifully in the end. Backtracking and flicked it over. A real moment of danger there.
Bit of acrobatics here by Spink.
Negro takes the corner himself. It's a man with a little flip, and the shot through a crowd of players could frankly have gone anywhere or off anybody, and to Villa's relief, it's gone out for a goal kick. Kinder with that shot, Negro with the header, which tested Spink early on here in the second half. One or two anxious faces on the Villa bench. Daly Atkinson trying to get them moving forward. Gets it back again then from Richardson. Tries the first time shot. Houghton. Earl Barrett forward to Daly Atkinson. He has Saunders in support. Turns and finds Cowans, and now Staunton. Well, a complete miskick there by Kinder. And he was fortunate to get away with that, the Slovan defender. This is Gostic, the substitute. Beautifully read by Cowans, and that's a good ball forward too to Saunders. Good defending though by Tehelne. Now Gostic. Well, that's a clumsy ball straight back to Cowans. It could be made to pay for that one. And they should have been. That was a chance for Townsend.
Well, it was a chance for Townsend. Great run by him, and a lovely ball again by Cowans, who's, for me, has been the best player on the Villa side so far this afternoon. Lovely little ball, and Andy just needed to get a little bit on it.
Yes, Cowans has been in outstanding form for Villa recently, back with the club in his third spell, in fact, now at Villa Park, and 35 next month. And surprised a few people. I think Ron Atkinson, when he took him from Blackburn in the close season, and surprised even more by the fact that he's put him in the team despite the strength of Villa's squad. But he's in on merit, no doubt about it. Tomaszek going up for the throw, and then Negro with the header, but that one a rather more gentle loop into Spink's hands. Cowans back to Staunton, and Dean Saunders is offside.
I think that's the first offside decision of the match.
Yeah,
certainly as far as Villa's concerned, because their sweep has been playing so deep there was no chance of being offside, but there he pushed up and caught Saunders.
Stupala knocking it forward, not a good ball. Villa have it back again now with Richardson. Zaman, Tomaszek. Tehelne coming forward, which he doesn't do too often. Zaman. And he was a bit lucky to get it back there, Zaman, but he's done well. And the little nudge was just enough on Gostic. The referee didn't deem it to be a foul either, but it just knocked him off his stride at the vital moment. And now the referee has seen an infringement, to the dismay of the coach Dusan Gallis. Aston Villa have a free kick for a foul on Dean Saunders, but they've rather wasted things here. And the referee wasn't happy the kick was taken from the right place. Tehelne. This is Staunton. Saunders beaten to it by Tomaszek, and then Krzysztofiak turning it straight back to Staunton. This is Richardson. And Richardson and Staunton get it wrong between them. And Gostic, the substitute, making a run, and Meixner. It was well spotted by McGrath. And if that goes, that is a goal kick. He doesn't think so.
Aston Villa caught napping again, really, Alan. A bit of slack play in the middle of the field there, and Krzysztofiak pinched that square ball and off he went.
And Villa getting the benefit of the doubt as well on the goal kick.
I think Villa are defending too deep myself. I do think that Paul McGrath and Tehelne should push up a bit, tighten things up in the middle of the field. There's far too much space there, and they're certainly exploiting that better than Villa.
Here's Negro. Tehelne and Tomaszek, who's dropped back into a genuine defensive position in this half. He was more in midfield in the first half. And a breakdown of communications there by Slovan. Villa not complaining. And Ron Atkinson getting as close to the touchline as he can to issue the orders. It's his first European tie, this, since he was manager of Manchester United 9 years ago. Negro getting it forward to Kinder, and it's a good run this by the left back, a great run, and a very good tackle too by Sean Teal to stop him in full flight. Here's Negro again, straight at Richardson, and Slovan getting in each other's way here, but Kostic has the ball. Negro just kept that one in play, and only just as well. Forward to Kristofik. Now Richardson getting it clear, but they're penned in their own half at the moment, Villa. And Cowans has played it in behind Staunton, who still should really have controlled that better, I think. But they've started this second half well, the home team, Ian.
They certainly have, but they've been given so much room in the middle of the field here. I keep saying it, Alan, but the Villa boys have got to tighten up a bit better. They're sitting too far back. They're allowing all this space to happen. Midfield players are not picking up. And it's been again, a sloppy start to the second half, as the way they started the first.
And that foul by Daly and Atkinson. The free kick dealt with well, though, by Villa. Now Townsend knocking it long for Atkinson, but even his prodigious pace couldn't get him there in time. He'll keep worrying the goalkeeper. What a mistake! And Wenzel is the luckiest man around to get away with that. That was a real what happened next.
I mean, he never looked comfortable as that ball was coming to him, did he?
Dear, oh dear, how embarrassing that might have been.
I thought that was a foul.
Could have been too, yes. Cowans driving a shot in meanwhile, and that was only just over as well. So suddenly, in the space of a few seconds, Villa could well have gone in front. What do you say to a manager when his goalkeeper has just done something like that? Find another goalkeeper, perhaps. Well, Wenzel's an experienced player. In fact, he's an international, and he's been first choice for a few years here. But that was a dreadful mistake. And it's given Villa a little bit of a lift here. Daly and Atkinson, who must have thought that he was going to score the softest goal of his life then. And certainly, Ian, I'd agree with you that Wenzel, having made the mistake, certainly did his best to stop Atkinson, Daly, and that is, not that one, from scoring. Whether it was legal or not is a point of debate. Anyway, the referee thought it was. Cowans with the corner kick. Teal getting up on the far post, but when he just flicked it on to Townsend. Now back to Houghton. Good running there by Dean Saunders, and back it goes to Houghton again. And a dangerous ball into the near post. Now Townsend with the shot. Well, suddenly they've come out of their shell here, Villa.
That was much better, wasn't it? Lovely little play there. Ray Houghton, who's been very quiet in the game, not really done an awful lot, got a bit involved there. Neat little link up with Saunders, and then Townsend in with a shot there. A bit off target, but at least, you know, it was encouraging for Villa.
Staunton getting it forward. And Houghton wins it back. Now Barrett. Straight onto Tomaszek's chest, though, but he controlled it badly. And Daly and Atkinson now. And that's a great run by Daly and Atkinson. And the tackle was absolutely crisp and accurate, but there's still problems as Houghton finds Saunders. And that was easy for goalkeeper Wenzel, but that challenge there by Stupler stopped Daly and Atkinson when he was really bearing down on goal. Indirect free kick to Aston Villa, the boot raised high. Last time Villa were in Europe, incidentally, a couple of years ago, they played a Czech team, as they were then. Baník Ostrava won that tie and had the misfortune to come up against Inter Milan, and despite a good result at Villa Park, went out eventually against the Italians, who are in this year's competition again, as are the holders of this trophy, Juventus. Also Bayern Munich from Germany, PSV from Holland, Atletico Madrid from Spain, Norwich, of course, from England, Celtic and Dundee United from Scotland. It's a very, very strong competition, the UEFA. Hout finds space to set up Daly and Atkinson. That was a rather lazy effort by the Villa striker.
Gee, he has to do better there, Daly, didn't he? That was a lovely little layoff from Houghton. Really wasn't even a half-hit shot, was it?
Casual. But very promising signs at the moment. Although Slovan started this half well, Villa are having a terrific little spell here. A goal would round it off nicely. Cowans with the corner. Strange one. It's also a very lucrative competition, of course, if you're successful at UEFA with two-leg ties all the way through to and including the final. Stupala's clearance. McGrath underneath it. And that's a throw into Slovan. The Bratislava team, certainly not as famous as the major clubs from Prague, but they won the old Czech title no fewer than 7 times, the last a couple of seasons ago. Villa last season's runners-up in England, of course. Houghton. Down the line for Barrett. Kinder making it hard for him, but Barrett has done well. And now Houghton. Cross curling in the end on the wind. There's not too much of it, just a gentle breeze onto the roof of the net. Substitution here for Slovan Bratislava. It's another attacking player they're bringing on, Ladislav Petsko. And the man he'll replace is Ludovic Lantz. International Petsko with 11 appearances for Czechoslovakia as they were then. So they've used both the substitutes they're allowed out of the 5 nominated and sitting on the bench. So if they get any injuries now, they've got a problem. Tomaszek. It's a useful ball, and it's split the Villa defence here, and Spink to Villa's rescue again. A dramatic dive by Meixner that certainly didn't fool the referee. But that was very alert goalkeeping from Nigel Spink. Not for the first time today. He's kept his side in the game. And still they attack here. The substitute getting forward dangerously as it goes in towards Negro. McGrath's headed clearance and then helped out by Teal. Saunders keeping possession. Back to Houghton. And the whistle has gone against Aston Villa. Another indirect free kick. The referee certainly doesn't like anyone raising the boot high. And the signal for Titel and Ziman to come forward again, and Tomaszek. Tomaszek on the far post, getting up with McGrath, and that's a corner kick.
That was a dead ball. It came off the back of Tomaszek. It's a little storm now. The Villa boys have got to weather this one. That was a great save by Spink.
Titel getting it back into the danger zone, and a terrible scramble. And the whistle has gone. I think the referee has given a free kick to Villa there for a foul, presumably on Cowans. But that was heart in the mouth time for Aston Villa fans.
Yeah, they got away with it. Here's a scramble, and
it was hard to see why Villa got a free kick out of it.
Well, I'm going to say that the two Villa players clashed with each other. They never made contact with a Slovak player.
Dean Saunders trying to get in behind the sweeper at the other end, but doesn't do so. And then Tomaszek clearing his lines, but only as far as Cowans, who's, again, the foot's gone in high, and a little bit of an incident between Negro and Cowans, but it's passed away quickly. Barrett. Atkinson, good turn by Daly and Atkinson. That's better. Excellent play from Daly and Atkinson. It's brilliant. Ah, if only he could have got that shot on target, it would have rounded off his best contribution so far. But Villa still in possession now with Staunton. Into Richardson on the near post, out to Saunders, and it ends up, unfortunately for Villa, with a goal kick.
Well, a great little spell of attacking play by both sides, and when the ball was played in here, good interception, hits Dean Saunders, and the way things are going for Saunders at the moment, lack of goals, you know, the goals have dried up for him. He needs a little turn, doesn't he? He needs a ball to drop kindly for him in the box.
McGrath's clearance is hit straight against the Slovan player, and now Gostish in possession for them, one of their two substitutes. And he's somehow managed to get through, but couldn't make the cross to the far post as he had intended. Good catch by Spink. He's having a very sound game for Villa. 18 minutes gone in the second half, and Spink's safe handling here makes sure that it's still 0-0.
And it's a difficult sun now shining straight in on Nigel Spink.
As Slovakian TV are showing this incident again, the ball is back in play. I think we've seen enough of that now. Zaman. Good ball. Kinder. They've picked up the pace noticeably here, Slovan. And they're running at the Villa defenders dangerously. But fortunately, the final ball hasn't been too effective. But I don't know whether the words come from the touchline, but certainly, as Kinder's run proved then, Ian, they have just cranked it up a gear, haven't they?
Yeah, they certainly have. It's been a far better second half in terms of excitement for the crowd here. There's been incidents at both ends.
Well, I've seen some European ties over the years where you hardly get an opening for either side in 90 minutes, but this is definitely not one of them. There have been a whole host of scoring opportunities for both teams. As yet, none of them have been accepted. 25 minutes to go. It's Slovan Bratislava 0, Aston Villa 0. Gordon Cowans. Townsend takes over. And they're backing away dangerously here. Saunders. Staunton. Houghton. And then it goes to Daly and Atkinson, but never quite reached him. Now Barrett and Saunders combining. Well played. Dean Saunders has done well. Houghton's lay off to Barrett. Villa looking stronger again now. Houghton again. Barrett wants it back and gets it back. Good challenge on him, though. Teal taking no risks, and quite rightly. And Spink really got his foot through that clearance. Daly and Atkinson's header. Tomaszek gets it clear. Now Richardson. Well played, Kevin Richardson. And sensible running again from Saunders into space on the right, and he's curled away from the defender. This is Houghton. And now Townsend. Tomaszek's clearance. Good little period, though, for Aston Villa. McGrath wins it back again and now finds Cowans. And this is frustrating the home supporters as Staunton drives it in, and it almost cleared the defender and reached Atkinson. It might yet. Barrett in possession. Now Daly and Atkinson again. Zaman gets right across him, and that's a goal kick. Well, it's hard to say how this game might end up at the moment, Ian.
Well, if it ends up 0-0, Villa will be delighted. I think the way things are going now, they've started to get a hold of the ball again, calm things down. And I can see them progressing through this game without losing.
Brave man. But certainly they've had a very good spell here. In terms of goal-scoring chances, it's been a reasonably even game, although you would say certainly that Slovan have had the better openings and more of them. Cowans. Good ball forward to Daly and Atkinson. Zaman gets it clear. And an indirect free kick again to Slovan Bratislava. Kristofic. Stupala. And he's dispossessed by Cowans, who really has been outstanding for Villa. And the foul goes against Richardson. Just over midway through the second half now, and it's still goalless here in Bratislava in this UEFA Cup tie. As a Tehelne comes from the position at the back to try the shot, and not very accurate. Don't forget, this is a big day of European football on ITV, and we'll have the Manchester United game against Honvéd in Hungary live at 7 o'clock, and then a highlights programme at 10:40 tonight, which will also include Arsenal's match in Denmark. I mentioned before, it's 11 years since Aston Villa played in and won that European Cup final. And at the time, it was the 6th victory in a row by an English club in the Champions Cup. We've only had one since. Well, of course, we did have that spell out of European football altogether, but it just shows how the balance is shifting, perhaps. But English and British clubs in general do have a very, very impressive record in the big European competitions. And with Manchester United and Aston Villa and Norwich and Arsenal representing us this season, we'd expect that tradition to continue. Nice play in midfield by Kevin Richardson. Townsend wins the header. And a good ball on from Saunders to Townsend. And this one I could actually reach out and kick, but somebody's beat me to it. Typical of my career. Second to the ball again. Kinder. Tehelne, you can just sense the home crowd getting frustrated here. The whistle's starting. They're not too happy with the way their side are playing. They're letting them know that, and that must be sweet music to Aston Villa's ears. And then Tehelne tries a rather hopeful long ball, which has given possession back to Aston Villa again. Staunton to Houghton. Atkinson. Houghton on to Cowans. Staunton. And Staunton really drives that one in left-footed. Tehelne's clearance. And this is Aston Villa's best spell of the game, really, this 15-20 minutes or so where they've been dominating possession. And I know you've been in this situation many times in your Liverpool days, Ian. It's always nice to hear the crowd are getting restless and angry with their team.
Well, I think you got it right there, Alan. They stand to get frustrated right enough. Villa, I think, now are beginning to take control of the game. I think the fitness factor comes into it. And the Villa are beginning to look the stronger side. I think they'll last the pace a little bit better.
Richardson. The layoff to Cowans. Now Andy Townsend. Staunton. Dean Saunders tried to lose his man but failed to do so, and there was a few internationals in that move, and you may be wondering why it is that Aston Villa apparently can play so many players from outside England, when it's pretty well known now that the new UEFA ruling is that teams are allowed only 3 non-nationals, as they call them. It's all to do with a complicated thing called assimilated players, which we'll come back to as Dalian Atkinson bears down on goal. And the goalkeeper dived straight over that, but given the benefit of the doubt, he knew what he was doing. Yes, players who have played for 5 years in their country, and I'm thinking of people like Ray Houghton and Andy Townsend, and who significantly spent at least 3 of those 5 years at youth team level, are what they call assimilated players, and that means that they are virtually treated as nationals in that case. And of course you've got the likes of McGrath and Staunton and Saunders, the Welshman, who are the 3 foreign players allowed under the UEFA ruling. Hope that's a little bit clearer.
Could you explain that again for me, please?
I'll be asking questions later, St. John, so I hope you've been concentrating. 17 minutes to go here. Still 0-0. Krzysztofic taking his time, and they really have begun to look a little ragged now, Slovan Bratislava. That's offside against Dean Saunders, but Aston Villa must be thinking they're getting close to having done a good job well here today. Ron Atkinson will not allow them, of course, the luxury of that thought from his position on the touchline, but dare I say Slovan are looking to have run out of ideas.
I would say, again, Alan, you've read the script. It's at this point now that I think Villa might just go for them and get themselves that vital away goal.
Yes, that really would be depressing for Slovan, who haven't managed a goal despite a couple of opportunities. If they were to concede one now, and with the possibility of an away goal counting double, that would be a serious blow. And that was a rash challenge there by Gostic on Barrett. Aston Villa's free kick. And for the first time, big Sean Teal has come forward as Houghton slides it in low to Saunders. Rather easily dispossessed there. And that's a good ball out, actually, by Krzysztofic, because that has enabled the substitute Petsko to find some room on the right. And the cross going in towards Meitzner on the near post. And the header directed over the bar. Well, that was their best move for some time, Slovan. But fortunately enough, the final header by Zeman, I think it was over the top.
It was an excellent break by them, because it all came from Dean Saunders losing the ball on the edge of their area. They broke quickly down the right, and it came. And really, it was a good effort.
Well, that's got the crowd back on their side again. Daly and Atkinson for Villa, showing great strength in possession. Houghton to his right, Saunders to his left. Took too long to make up his mind then, though. El Barrett, right down in front of us. Lovely skill. Saunders is the only player forward at the moment. Townsend is arriving, and now Cowans. This is Saunders. Steve Staunton. Cowans, like the good experienced pro he is, just making a bit of room, keeping possession, making sure that Villa have the ball and have strength in numbers now.
He's been invaluable today for them, Cowans.
McGrath chipping one in. Didn't quite work, but it comes back out to Houghton. And now Staunton, Villa camped in the Slovan half at the moment.
You know, when they talk about the game being all about pace and power today, we'll just wait and see how the goalkeeper does with this one. Not very well.
But rather better than his opposite number did earlier.
I'm just saying, it's all about pace and power. It's nice to see the footballers like Cowans. There's still a place for them in the game.
And Negro keeping possession, finding Gostic. And he's overrun it again.
And Cowans, the man that nicked it from him.
Richardson forward to Daly and Atkinson. That's a good challenge by Zeman. Now Krzysztofic. Petsko. And he's found room neatly and it hits Steve Staunton and has gone behind for a corner. Now, Dusan Gallis, the coach, will know that it's vital his team make the most of anything that falls their way in this final, 13 minutes of the game now, if they're to have any realistic hope of making a game of this when they go to Birmingham in a fortnight's time. Wasn't a good corner.
Well, he had a bit of pace in it, tried to bend it and whip it in with a bit of pace on it. Fortunately, Villa managed to get it away at the near post. Villa had everybody back there now. I think they're thinking, well, let's if they do put a bit of pressure on us, let's make sure we're all back there defending.
Well, having seen enough of Slovan now, Ian, would you say that certainly the kind of team that Villa would be expected to beat over two legs?
I would think so, yes. I think Villa fans sitting at home watching it now will be thinking the same thing.
Villa, one of the seeded teams in the competition, so they certainly would be expected to progress beyond this round. And then some rather bigger and stronger clubs.
The list of clubs you gave before, the Juventuses, and I mean, wonderful lineup of clubs in this competition. We've always thought in football that the UEFA Cup was the toughest one to win because there was an extra round in it, and it's also the teams that are on the up in their leagues. You know, the following year, they're usually the teams that were the champions of a downer, and the teams in the UEFA Cup are probably the better form sides.
Were you in any of the Liverpool sides that won the UEFA?
No, no.
You just kept to the Champions Cup, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never lowered yourself to these minor competitions. Staunton knocking a long ball, which could be dangerous here. Tomaszek under pressure from Dean Saunders, and the smaller man's done well. Oh, that was a brilliant effort. What a shame that Saunders directed it into the very area where the goalkeeper was covering, because he lost the defender beautifully then, Saunders. And that was certainly his best contribution to the game and could have brought that vital away goal. Zaman getting it forward to Stupala meanwhile as Slovan go on the counter-attack again. Zaman. And he's gone through again here, the big defender, and won a corner.
That was Cowan's interception there, vital one. He does this very well, Saunders. He turns lovely onto his left side with using the outside of his right foot. But unfortunate really to hit the keeper like that.
Corner at the other end meanwhile. Whipped into the near post. And then set up for Kristofik. And Spink was strong when he needed to be there as Gostic came in at him. 10 minutes remaining now, a little under. And so far, so good for Aston Villa. Atkinson to Townsend. Well played, Andy Townsend. Now Richardson on the near post, and he's gone into the far post looking for Daly and Atkinson. Houghton. Staunton. Staunton again. And he gets the throw in. Tehelne McGrath just happy to keep possession for the moment. Nothing too ambitious as McGrath then gives it away. And they could do nothing with it, the opposition. And once again, the jeers and the whistles and the catcalls from the Bratislava fans. Richardson for Aston Villa. Atkinson's layoff finds Cowans, who's always in space, always available and always wanting the ball, and usually doing something intelligent with it. like that. Good ball forward then by Staunton to Houghton. Well, as long as Villa have got the ball, inevitably, Slovan can do nothing. Saunders, good little layoff that one. Houghton to Richardson. Barrow's on the overlap here. We've got plenty forward in the box as it goes in towards the near post. And one back by Richardson to Saunders. And for the second time he had a chance.
Yes, again, straight at the keeper. I mean, when a striker is going through a barn patch, such as Dean Saunders is, you know, he needs a little bit of luck, as I said earlier on, and he just turned and hit that and bang. It could have gone anywhere but straight at the keeper.
He's only scored 3 times in his last 24 league games for Aston Villa, Dean Saunders. It must be one of the most barren patches of his prolific scoring career.
Well, after the way he started at the Villa.
Teal doing well under pressure. And Jim Barron and Ron Atkinson in behind him. Jim Walker, the physio, still enjoying the sunshine, which has disappeared from our side of the stadium now. The long shadows of late afternoon here beside the River Danube, and Villa so close to performing a good job in their opening European tie, but they've got to face a corner now. A little over 5 minutes remaining. And Spink and his fellow defenders have to keep concentrating to the end.
That was a better one.
Yeah, Richardson dealing with it. But it's clear what they prefer to try and do there, curling them into that near post area. They've got a throw in now, though. They don't seem in any great urgency to take it.
I think Stopala's the long throw merchant.
Stupala hurls it in then towards Tomaszek. Beaten to it by Teal, and that's a corner. That's a shame for Villa. They didn't really could have done without this little spell. And again towards the near post, Daly and Atkinson dealt with it this time. And very hopeful, being uncharitable, you might say hopeless effort.
I'm just looking across at the bench there, right opposite us, and Rod Atkinson and his team have been told they sit down, get back in the box and sit down. I think nerves are beginning to tell with the big fella there. Only seconds to go of the game.
Yeah, there's about 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah. A little bit of stoppage time, though not a great deal in this half. I think the fact that it's so quiet here in the stadium is a great tribute to Aston Villa's performance, because the home crowd seem convinced they're not going to see a home victory. Let's hope they're right. Aston Villa fly out almost immediately after the game. It's a hurried dash back to the airport here. And it would be very nice to go back with the match still on level terms and the second leg to come. Here's Kristofic. Slid down the line to Petsko. Petsko gets in behind the defender. It's a fine one by the substitute. Well, that was an anxious moment for Aston Villa. And Spink, who has performed admirably throughout, was strong again. But it just shows you they're on the way to a good job completed here, Villa, and it doesn't take more than a few seconds for that to be undone with a goal. Although even, frankly, a 1-0 deficit wouldn't be regarded as a terribly bad result for Villa, but I think hopefully now they will be seeing their way out to a draw. Dean Saunders. Staunton. Forward to Daly and Atkinson. Tried to lose his defender, but didn't succeed. And Slovan have it back again now. Stupala's layoff. He goes forward for the return ball, shadowed by Cowans. No problem for Spink. He's really been outstanding, isn't he?
He has. I mean, he's been terrific. Here's a shot coming in now. There's a save. What he's had to do, been very competent and very encouraging to have a goalkeeper in such form behind you.
2 minutes to go now. Still Slovan Bratislava 0, Aston Villa 0. A vital couple of minutes in Villa's European campaign to keep a clean sheet. And although 90 minutes is a long time in football, I think most people in the game would expect in the second leg, if Villa can keep it at 0-0 here for this last couple of minutes, most people would expect Villa to go through comfortably, I think, in their home tie. Teal has got himself into a bit of danger, though, and had to concede the throw-in. As the clock ticks towards 89 minutes. And here's the substitute running again at the defence, and that was a fine effort by Gostish. Certainly the most dangerous he's looked since he came on at a half-time.
Actually, he hasn't looked bad at all, Gostić, I think, since he's come on in the second half. Looks very lively, good feet, tricky player. He's had 2 or 3 little dribbles and, you know, but unfortunate with that one, just over. I would expect to see him in the lineup to start at Aston Villa.
Yes, he's certainly done a lot better than Timko, the man he replaced, who had a fairly anonymous first half. That's a good ball forward to Dean Saunders. Tomaszek right behind him, and he just managed to beat him, but the ball came off his own shins.
I think Ron Atkinson will be, you know, a bit annoyed that his forwards, his 2 boys up the front, didn't keep a hold of the ball a little bit better. Nothing seems to have stuck with him. You know, they play balls up, and Atkinson and Saunders have been losing them.
Teal completes the clearance at the other end as we move now into stoppage time, and as I was saying, there won't be very much of that. So Villa could be just seconds away from a job well done here, and that's the best description of their display today. They had 1 or 2 scares early on, certainly in the first half, in the first 15 minutes, in fact, when Slovan might have and should have scored at least once. But basically, they've limited them to very few opportunities in the second half, and Villa themselves might have had goals in the game. It's still 0-0, and we're into time being added as Tetel goes forward, and a wasted cross might just be enough to see Aston Villa home.
Again, back to that point I was making there, Alan, about the 2 front players, Atkinson and Saunders. When you're playing away from home, European tie, so much depends on your front players getting a hold of the ball, holding things up, and let your support come and help you.
That's it then, it's all over. Right after the break.
Without their captain Sharby, who's suspended, without their most influential midfield player Pichon, who's broken a leg, and then most disturbing of all for them, just an hour ago, their top scorer Shalloy pulled out with a calf muscle injury that he did in training yesterday. He's relegated to the substitutes bench. The 7 of this side have played international football. They're still going boldly for 3 men up front: Stefanov, Hammer and Vincent. Well, Brian Robson goes on and on, 36 now, but vital experience and vital inspiration for Manchester United, and he's determined to make yet another season of glory here for Manchester United. Manchester United, for their part, manager Alex Ferguson delighted that both Sharp and Ince passed tests this morning. They both play. It's the side that lost at Chelsea on Saturday. No Mark Hughes, who's suspended, but Mark becomes available for the second leg at Old Trafford in a fortnight's time. The referee from Italy, Piero Ceccherini, just about to get this European Cup tie, the first leg, underway. And away we go, Manchester United then. change strip of green and yellow. Attacking the goal to our left. Parker in quickly. It's Ince. Keane gets it back. A long way now to Peter Schmeichel. United then really get this ball rolling in the European Cup for the first time in 24 years. As Alex Ferguson says, they've got to make sure they are safe and secure in these vital opening minutes. But they'll be looking, as they say, not to play a passive part here. They're going to come, and they're going to come and attack, look for that vital away goal. But first, there's solid work to be done. Lee Sharp gets it forward to Giggs, playing in the central attacking role there. Keane on the far side, Ince. Away come Honved, the champions of Hungary. Intercepted by Pallister. Parker on the far side. Ince again. Cantona. Bruce to Robson. It's a really big pitch, as Alex Ferguson was saying, and it makes it that much more difficult to defend on, I suppose. And if United come in an aggressive mood, there might be opportunities for them here, because I suspect that Alex Ferguson himself suspects that this young Honved side might be a little naive when it comes to defending. Pallister guiding this ball, looking to get it back, kept his head well and then couldn't keep his feet. For a moment there was just a hint of danger there for United. Sharp looking to get the better of Zobedos. Foul, and no foul given. Number 7 is Ilesh. Shehi. Cut out nicely there by Steve Bruce. Long ball there towards Giggs, but Hawkeye, big tall central defender, getting there first. Now Giggs gets to this one. Keane tried to make something of it, but there was nothing there for him. Up goes Robson. Fiercely contested these opening moments. The pitch was very much on the dry side and a little bobbly when United trained on it last night. Steve Bruce was saying that he hoped that they could water it, which I gather they have done this afternoon, but also there was a lot of heavy rain last night. So in those terms, Manchester United's prayers were answered. Here's a free kick then for Honved. Shehi with it. $18 goals Honved have scored in their last 4 games, 8 on Saturday with an 8-1 victory. They lie 3rd in the table, and although they're a young side coached by a Finn, there's no doubt goal scoring like that does raise a side's confidence. And in no way, and it would be foolish if Manchester United in any way should underestimate them. Here's Paul Parker for them. Up to Eric Cantona. A foul on the big Frenchman, a free kick to Manchester United. Cantona wants to take it quickly. Giggs can't get in there. Banfi, the sweeper, gets it away. Pallister again. Oh, and a mistake by Pallister. And suddenly a chance for Honved. It's Iles. It's Iles. And Schmeichel makes the save. And there's the warning exactly for Manchester United. It was a half mistake by Gary Pallister.
Well, he shouldn't have done that, Brian, shouldn't he? I mean, it was a good shot by Iles and a dangerous situation completely. And as you were saying before, that United can not take anything for that. I didn't think they would, but, you know, that was just the type of slip that Pallister occasionally makes, and it could have proved very vital there. And I must say that we had a look at the pitch yesterday, very hard, and right enough they did water it. Alex Ferguson will not be too happy about that mistake. Schmeichel made a good save, as it turned out, but I was saying that they watered the pitch by him, but we've seen several of the United players losing their foothold, and that will be a key fixture. They might have to put some extra length of their studs on, because we've seen Keane slipped, Giggs, and then Pallister, but And they were doing quite well up until then. It was a bad slip, that.
The season had been rolling really well for them until they slipped up to an excellent Chelsea performance on Saturday. And if there was any complacency or whatever in the side, well, that break should certainly have wiped that out. Iles again. But here's Giggs. Now, let's have a run at the defender here. But Sabados got back, helped out. That time it's Dennis Irwin getting it back. Schmeichel getting it clear. If anything, Schmeichel may have been a little bit at fault at for the Chelsea goal on Saturday, but that was a marvellous early test for him, and he came through it beautifully, saving that shot a moment ago. Roy Keane. And I must say, Honved, for all the problems they've had with team selection, are playing with a good deal of confidence and spirit in these early stages. A foul there by Lee Sharp. The Italian referee don't want any of that. And Honved get a free kick.
And you would expect him, Brian, to come out. You never know what... I mean, it was a sort of half attacker. You know, they've got to come out in the first 10, 15 minutes. They've got to take the game to United. But they do look very comfortable indeed on the ball.
This is Banfi, the sweeper. Almay. Looking very comfortable and happy on the ball. Lockeye knocking it forward. And Vince, and down goes Parker, just the slip that Dennis Law was talking about. It is a very greasy service. And a corner, the first of the game, for Honved, to be taken by the number 7, Bella Iles. Almay, the big number 4 at the near post. Chehi, the number 6, is lurking there as well. Banfi's come up on the line. Important moments this for Manchester United. Taking it wide, getting the ball in. Ince hitting it straight at a Honved player, but a linesman flag was up on this side. It's a free kick.
Good skill, wasn't it? In fact, they're not afraid to try little flicks there, and I think fortunately for United that the linesman spotted that offside. But I'm just saying earlier on, the pitch does look very greasy indeed. It is obviously hard underneath, and with that little bit of water that's been on, it is making it very, particularly for the United player.
Cantona up well. Sabados getting it away. Wide there by the number 10, Roy Keane. Hammer, an offside flag is up. Giggs on that far side now. Manchester United coming forward. Cantona waiting in the middle for him. Will it come to Cantona? It's a great goal! And Roy Keane has put Manchester United ahead. An error in the Hungarian defence, punished to the fullest extent by Roy Keane for Manchester United. 1-0.
Well, you can't really get off to a better start than that, where they looked a bit shaky. They sort of come into the game. And as you said, Brian, a mistake by the one of the Honved defenders, and fortunately for United.